So we are on page 2 of our module review. Okay, number 8, we are going to plot 75/100 and -1/2 and their opposites on the number line below. So we are going to take a look at 75/100. So first of all, we want to look at our intervals. So an easy way to look at our intervals is to look at 0 to 1 and then count the tick marks that are between 0 and 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tick marks, which means if there are 4 tick marks, they're counting by the reciprocal of 4, 1/4. So each tick mark is 1/4. So to plot 75/100, this is the same as 3/4, so that will be right here. 75/100, and its opposite, we are also asked to graph its opposite. Its opposite will be -75/100. -1/2 will be right here, halfway between 0 and -1. And its opposite is +1/2 right here, halfway between 0 and +1. Number 9, a bus arrives at a station every 6 minutes. A train arrives at the same station every 8 minutes. If a bus and a train arrive at the station together now, how long will it be before a bus and train arrive again at the same time? So we're looking at every 6 minutes and every 8 minutes. We want to know how many more minutes are going to pass until they meet at this station again. So we have 6 minutes and 8 minutes. And what we're looking at is we're looking at the multiples. Okay, so the multiples, and we want to find out the least common multiple. When's the next time they'll be together at the station again? So the multiples of 6, we'll just list a few: 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and we can always add more if we need to, but I think we're going to be in good shape with that 24. Multiples of 8 are 8, 16, and then we see that 24. So the least common multiple is 24. So they will be at the station again in 24 minutes. Okay, number 10 is over here on the right. The table below shows today's change in points for 4 different stocks. Today's change in stock prices. Okay, and the directions, we'll look at that table in a moment. The directions say write the changes in points in the correct order from greatest to least. Now it just says changes. It doesn't say increase or decrease. It just says change. Okay, so it doesn't matter if the stock price went up or if the stock price went down. We're just looking at the overall change. So what we're really looking at is the absolute value. So this, I'm just going to say absolute value of, we'll just say C for change. Okay, and we'll add another column to that table. Okay, so stock price A changed 14 cents. Stock price B changed $10.33. Stock C changed in price $9.82, and stock D changed in price $4.50. So if I want to write the changes in order from greatest to least, the one that had the greatest change was stock B at $10.33. Okay, then the next largest number was $9.82, which is stock C. And then the next greatest change is $4.50, which is stock D. And the stock with the least amount of change was stock A. And again, it didn't ask for increase or decrease. It just said, write the changes from the greatest change to the least change. So this stock had the biggest change, stock B. Stock A had very little change. Number 11, during a football game, the Tigers gained 3 4/5 yards on the first play and lost 3.7 yards on the second play. Write an inequality to compare the change in yards during the first 2 plays of the Tigers football game. So we're writing an inequality to compare 3 4/5 and 3 7/10. So this is written as a fraction, that's written as a decimal. To make it easier to compare, I'd prefer to have them both written as a decimal. So 4/5 can easily be changed into tenths. So if I have 3 4/5, okay, I'm just going to look at my 4/5 portion of that number, and I'm going to write it as tenths. So if I want to change from fifths to tenths, I ask myself, what happened to my denominator? Well, my denominator was doubled times 2. So whatever happened to my, whatever I did to my denominator, I need to do to my numerator. So that is going to also need to double times 2 will give me 8. So 8 tenths as a fraction will be 8 over 10. 8 tenths as a decimal will be 0.8. So I can write this instead of 3 4/5, I can write this as 3.8, 3 8 tenths. So I'm just going to put this right here, 3.8. That makes it easier to compare when I know that 3 4/5 is equivalent to 3 8 tenths. So 3 8 tenths is larger than 3 7 tenths. So this is greater. So 3 4/5 is greater than 3 7 tenths. Number 12. A shirt that Ashley wants to buy is no longer on sale. The change in price of the shirt is $2.25. Plot the change in price of the shirt and its opposite on the number line. So $2.25, that's 2 1/4 of a dollar, $2.25. So here's 2, there's 3. I want to look at my tick marks and see how many there are. That helps me to see what they're counting by. So when I look at my tick marks starting at 2, I have okay, so we want to graph the change in the price of the shirt and its opposite on the number line. So the shirt is $2.25. We want to graph or the change was $2.25. We want to graph that and its opposite. So we want to determine what they're counting by on our number line. So we look at 0 and 1. We see starting at 0, we count the number of tick marks. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 tick marks, which tells us that they're counting. Each tick mark is 1/4. They're counting by the reciprocal of that. So each tick mark is 1/4. Since $2.25 is 2 1/4, we can plot 2 1/4 right here. This is $2.25. And then its opposite will be right here. 1 tick mark to the left of -2. This is -$2.25. And then part B asks us, which statement about the points plotted on the number line is true? So when they say which one is true, that tells us that there's only going to be one correct answer. So 3 of these are false and 1 of these is correct. Letter B. Both points are on the same side of 0. That's false. Okay, we can see that -$2.25 is left of 0 and positive $2.25 is right of 0. So we're going to write an F for false, so we know we already evaluated that statement and determined that it's false. Letter B, the absolute value of both points is 0. That's false. Okay, the absolute value of $2.25 is 2.25, and the absolute value of -$2.25 is also 2.25. So that's false. The only number that has an absolute value of 0 is 0. Okay, letter C, both points have an absolute value of 2.25. This is correct. Both points are 2 25/100 away from 0. This one is 2 25/100 away from 0 to the right. This point is 2 25/100 away from 0 to the left. So this is true. And just to be thorough, we're always going to check D, just in case we got tricked on C. The distance of both points from each other is 2.25. That is false. Okay, each of the points is 2.25 away from 0, which means they're double that, 4.5 away from each other. Okay, so that is it. That is our module 2 review. That was page 2.